So welcome along, everybody. It's really exciting to sort of start to do this session today with you. What we're going to be focusing on is some of the amazing things that you can do with Adobe Express. So everyone in Goldsmiths, whether they are a student or staff, have got access to the full range of Adobe tools. So that's all of the tools in the Creative Cloud, and it's also our great online tools as well, such as Adobe Express. Now, I'm going to be focusing on Adobe Express today just to show you some of those features. And it really is a very easy tool to use, and it allows you to easily create images, videos, social media posts, documents, and a lot of other things as well. So if you're worried about, a steep learning curve for any of these applications, then Express is really the way that you can quickly get up and running and started. So I'm going to show you some of those features today. So let me get started. If you'll see in Express, there's a few kind of prompts at the top here, just giving you some indications as to where you might want to start. So I'm going to start off here with looking at generative AI. Generative AI, obviously something that's very much in the news and being talked about. So I'm just going to show you what some of these features are that we have. So under generative AI in Express, we have text to image, generative fill, text to templates, and text effects. Now, if we start with text to image, so when you're doing this, and you'll see that there's some of the prompts here, and the images that have been created, and you'll see that these are quite detailed. So if you begin with something that's quite simple, then you might not quite get what you're looking for. So the more detail that you can put in there, the better. The types of things to think about are the subject that you want to present, maybe things like the time of day, the angle you want them to appear from. If there's an art style or an art movement that you want to use, then those can be quite useful things to use as well. So I'm going to just to look at some example prompts here. So here's a good one, which is going to be quite detailed. So I'm going to pop that in here, and it says an illustration of dinosaurs drawn by a child. The illustrations are cute and heartwarming. Okay, so let's see, if I click on generate, then that should begin to generate my image. And if I look down the side here, I will start to see the results appearing. And there's my image has started to appear, and I've got 4 different choices of the image that I like. Now, if I look at these 4 choices and I don't like what the output is, then because this uses what's called a diffusion model, then each time you generate this, it actually is slightly different to the previous time. So you can keep just generating the same image, or you could make changes to your prompt, or you could put in a different art style, a different technique, or something like that. So that's an example of some of the things that you could put in there. So the more detail you have, the better. So for example, let me try another one. I'll just go back into Gen AI and back into my text to image again here. And I could say, for example, so let's say a cyberpunk bee you can separate this with commas, evening, and I'll say London. There we go. And again, it's going to generate that for me. Come down the side, the results will start to appear in a second. And there's my results coming up. So I can have a look through these and see which ones I like the best. I might say, okay, it's not really giving me London again, so I could try generating that a few more times if I liked. Now, once I've got the image that I'm happy with, I can select it here, and I can actually just save that. If I just click up here to give it a title, and that's going to save that for me. I could then go over to my stuff over here, so it says your stuff. If I click into there, and I'll be able to access any of my files from within there. So if I just go back to the home again, into your stuff, And there's my B there, my cyberpunk B is in there. Now, what other kind of things can we create with the Gen AI? So let's go back into the homepage. I'm going to go into generative AI, and I am going to have a look at the next option that we've got down here, which is generative fill. So this is where you can take an existing image and you can make changes to that image, and you can add different elements and change different elements using AI. Now, I could actually upload an image here and use an existing one that I've already got. I could take one of the free images from Adobe stock. So I'm going to have a look at that, just have a look at some of these sample images that we've got here. So here's one, for example. This might be a good one if you're, doing a product design or something like that. Now, how would I add in something to this particular shot? Well, what I want to do is just define the area that I want to add the new element in. I can increase the brush size here just to make that a little larger. So if I do this, and I'm just going to really roughly brush out an area here. Now, it already has a suggestion in there. I could obviously change that. I could put something different in there. So let me just take that out, and I'm going to say cucumber slice. Hopefully that will work. I'm going to click on generate, and again it's going to start to generate the different options that I have there. It'll give me my results in a minute. Starting to come through now, so you can see that I'm getting different results, and again I can choose the different elements that I want to include there as part of my generative fill. So you can add additional elements using generative fill. Come back to my homepage, back into the generative AI again. One of the other elements here is called text to template. So this means if you need to make a whole presentation, say a poster, a social media post, a flyer that you want to prepare, instead of having to assemble all the elements, you can actually generatively create a specific template, which you could then adjust for your needs. So I'm going to type in here, flyer for a library tour. Just tap on that. And that's going to start to generate that. So what that's going to do is it's going to look for free and copyright-free stock imagery that could be used. It's going to select what an appropriate font and layout would be. So here's a few different things in here, and some of them are really simple, some of them are quite kind of elegant. So in this you could really select the one. This one looks really cool, so I'm just going to choose this one here. It's going to start to load that up. So whilst that's kind of building that and loading it, once it's done that, then I will be able to go in, add the details that I want for it about, maybe the time the tour's starting, the location for that tour, and edit different elements of it as well. One of the things to say about the generative AI is that it's built on a credit basis. So that means there are a certain number of credits you can use each month, which is 250. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go beyond those, and it just means it kind of slows down a bit once you've got past that point. And that's actually does help us to make sure that it's not using too many resources. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the text effects. So I could create a specific effect that could apply to text. So let me choose something here. So I'm going to say I want text that looks like molten gold. Click on generate that, and it's going to start to find something. You'll see it puts in a kind of sample text, and what you can see there is it's actually working away to bring up this effect, and you'll see that it's starting to apply my molten gold effect on there. I could change the text in there. That's it done. I could just select all the text, and I could say type goldsmiths. Just change the size, and you'll see that it's starting to move that out there. Now you could take that element and then you could use that in another image or another presentation. So I can just type this to save it there. And that's going to save it into my stuff. So I could come back in and I could get that later. Click on home, go into my stuff, and I can see that that is saved in there, as have all as the flyer that I did for the library tour, as have all the other elements in there as well. So you can kind of reuse these, remix them, drop them into other places too. So that's just some of the things that you can do with Gen AI. Very interesting, lots of applications. It doesn't have to be things that are illustrations. They can be very photorealistic. Can be handy if you're doing a presentation and you just want to, you can't quite find the right image, then you can have Gen AI to create that image for you. Now, I'm next going to have a look at the photo option here. So if I click on photo, and there's different options that I've got in terms of getting started. So I can start off with a template. I could look for one of the free Adobe stock images, or I could upload my own image. So I'm going to try that this time. I'm going to upload my own image. I'm going to select this here. That's going to upload this image. That's a couple of my colleagues on Brick Lane. So I'm going to click Create New from here, and I can sort of, I could say what kind of size I want that to be. So let me make that a kind of Instagram size image. I could select that there, and I could just drag it out to fit in a bit better. Now, what can I do with my image once I've got this in here? So you can see I've kind of selected the photo there. One of the cool things you can do is quickly remove the background. So I'm just going to click on Remove Background. And that's simply very quickly removing the background of the image there. Now, I might want to do some additional editing on that image. Let's come down here. I can look at effects, for example, and I could give them a bit of a tint so that it looks like this. Very easy effect to do. I could add in some text as well. I could give it a background color. Just click on there. It's suggesting some, or I could choose my own background color there. Added my text. So let me just click here to add my text. See, I'll just now let's imagine I want to advertise a podcast. So let's say listen to our movie podcast. I'm just going to type that in there. That looks kind of boring. So what I'm going to do is just do a few things to it. So let me just adjust that there. Listen to our movie podcast. I can change the font that is used, of course. So again, in there, select my text, find a different font, and there are thousands and thousands of fonts that can be used. Just try that one. I can do different other effects to the text as well, such as changing the color if I wanted. I could change the outline as well. So let me just make that red, and I'll give it a go. Just making it stand out a little bit more. Now it still looks kind of boring, so I'm going to add in some additional elements. So just click on elements in the background there. Let me find some icons. I'll just do a search on icons, and I'll just say movies. If it finds anything, there we go. So I could add in a few elements like this, wherever I wanted to add that. And of course, you can just readjust where those are. So you'll see over on the side here, we've got layers in here. So if any of you have used Photoshop in the past, you might be familiar with the concept of having layers, and it's very similar here with Express. And you can simply drag it and drop your elements so that they appear on different layers in the image that you want to produce. I could add in some other backgrounds there. So let me just go to some textures. Elements here, backgrounds. And I could put in, there's a nice movie background, so that makes it look even more like a movie. So that's just some examples of some of the things that you could do with your images. Again, I can save that out there. I'll just call that movie podcast. If I've already got one called movie podcast, it doesn't want me to call it that, movie podcast 2. That's better. Now, what can I do with this once I have created it? So I could go over here to share it. So if I just click on share, select it here. It's coming up, but it's just coming. Yep, here we go. I can publish this directly to the web. So if I click on publish, and I can get a link for this if I want to share it with others. And that'll start to publish that. And once I've published it, it's very simple for me to put that straight on my social media, send it to Twitter, Instagram, and other places like that as well. And as you see, now it's ready. I could simply copy the link, and I could share that with whoever I liked. You'll see my different options that I've got down here. So I can share Instagram, Facebook, all the different options to publish it. I can also schedule a post. I'll show you that feature in a little while. So that I can say, okay, I actually want this to go out in different social media platforms at different times. That's great. So a couple of comments in the chat. So let me just pop over just to, that's great. Just get some updates there. Head to log in, great, and I think Neil's covering that in terms of how to log in. So that's a really quick look at images, and you'll see that there's a lot of quick things you can do to images as well. So if I come back to my home here, go into photos, and we have what's called quick actions. So I showed you the remove background quick action, but you can also resize your image. You can convert it to different file formats, as you can see there, and you can crop the image. So all the things that you're probably used to doing with other tools like Photoshop, then you can do them really quickly in Adobe Express as well. Now, there's a lot in Express, and I've got a lot to show you, so I am going to move on. I'm going to show you some of the options that we have got for video. So let me show you this. And what I'll do is I think I need to make sure that I'm sharing the audio here, which I might not be doing. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing and then reshare just so that I've got the audio. That's it. Perfect. Okay, so if I click on video here, now, again, I've got different options here. So it's giving me, do I want an Instagram reel, TikTok video, YouTube video, etc. So I could choose, any of those options in there. If I come across here, and I'm just going to choose to do I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to start from a template. So I'm going to click on Browse Templates to look for my video template. And this is going to, if you can see in here, this is a lot of different templates that I might want to use. Now, I don't actually think I'll use any of those. So I'm going to go over here and let me just look for videos. And here's some of the free stock videos that you can use. Now, I'm actually going to do a specific project here, and it's going to be about nature. It's going to be about the origins of the domestic dog. So I'm going to choose this one. So this is a very nice little video. And as you can see at the bottom here, we've got our timeline. I can click on play, and it's going to play it. It doesn't have any sound. It's just a short thing of some huskies. So that's fine, and that's going to suit my purpose here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to remove the background from the video. So, because you can also remove the background, not just from images and photos, but from videos as well. So that's working away, and that's going to remove that. Now, once I've removed that background, I'll be able to then, add other things in the background. I could add in text, I could add in colors, I could add in textures as well. Just takes a little bit longer with videos than it does with images. It should be working its way through just now. And there we go. That's it done, and that's it removed the background. Click on play, and you'll see the background for that video has been completely removed. So what else do I want to add in here just to get make this a little bit more interesting? So I could add in some text. I could add in some background. So let me look at some of my background elements here. Texture. So let's add in a texture. Again, these are all free elements that you can use that you get with Express. So that's quite an interesting one. It comes in there very small, so I just want to drag that out. And you won't see it that too clearly, actually. But now you're probably starting to see it now where you get that texture. And I'm actually going to put the I'll put the texture to the back in a minute. I'm going to choose a color for it as well. Look at my swatches, and it's giving me some recommendations. Something that's not too, it's a little bit more wintry. There we go. So you can see that this is starting to come through now. If I click on play, and I've got my background there. Now, I also want to add in some text here. So let me just go grab my text that I'm going to use first of all, so that we've got that to paste in. So I'm just going to grab my text. And if I just click on the text tool, let me just go back to the beginning here. Click on the text tool, click add your text, and there's my text box come in. I can paste in what I've got, and then I can just resize it like that. There we go. So I can see that it's put my text in there. And again, I can make changes to that text. So if I click on the text there, I can select it. I could change the font. I could change the color. I can change all of those different elements about the text. Let's try and find a nice font in here. Whoops. Just choose this one here. So now I've got my text in there as well. Now, one thing it is kind of missing is some audio. So there's no audio on this. Now I could record my own audio and I could add that in as a narration. That's easy to do. Or I could pick some music, maybe from the free music that you get with Adobe Express. So click in audio here, and as you can see, I could record a voiceover, so I could read that out and add my recording to the video. If I've already done a recording, I could upload that or upload my own music to the video. In this case, I'm going to choose just to be quick, I'm going to choose a nice bit of sample music there. And you can see that has produced my video quite nicely there. If I want to make this a bit longer, I could do that, and I could simply select my scene here, and I could duplicate it. I've duplicated my scene over here, and all I could do then would be to change the text in it. So I'll get my next bit of text, copy that over there, zoom into that bit. There we go. And again, I can paste that in there, resize that, and that's just changing that. So if I now come back here, try previewing it again. And I can see that there. So I'm starting to build up my video. I could add in an extra screen at the end, maybe say, hey, go to our website to find out more, kind of a call to action of something that we could do for that particular video as well. But once I'm happy with it, I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to call that Wolf Video 2. And again, that just makes it easy for me to find if I go back to that particular video in my stuff to find where it is. And of course, what I'm going to want to do is share this as well. So again, what I can do is I can download it. So I can download that as an MP4. So if I wanted to work on that a little bit more, I could even take the video into another application like Adobe Premiere, or I could, post it onto social media at a later date, or I could incorporate that into another presentation or project, or I could share it directly, again, share that directly with other people. And one of the interesting things about Express is that you can collaborate with other users as well. So I could invite somebody to collaborate on this and get involved with it, and they could work on it as well. You can see I can publish that out to the web, so I can then get a link to share, or I can send it straight to social media, or I can schedule that post to social media as well. So that's a quick introduction to some of the things that you can do with video. Again, I've taken a sample video there, but you could use your own video footage, just something you've grabbed with your phone, or something that that you have already, and you could mix things up like that. I'll just pop over again to chat, see if there's any questions coming in there. Yeah, I think we've got all the questions are getting answered there. So that's good. And in terms of the download quality, so have a look in there, and you've got, this is the resolution options that you've got. So you see that 4K is one of the options for downloading as well. Okay. So need to move on to some of the other things that you can do with Express. So I come over onto social media. In social media, I'm going to introduce you here again to some of the ideas around templates, some of the things that you can do with templates. So there's a whole load of predefined templates that already exist. So if I go into, let's choose an Instagram post here, I'm going to say browse templates. And I could browse for a template for really whatever I liked, and then I could remix that into something else. So if I come in here and I could say, for example, a quote. So I'm going to say quote, and I've got something in mind. So I'm going to write storm, because I want to have an image of a storm. So I'm going to type in here, and it's going to give me some quotes, and it's got some kind of storms in the background for some of them. Now, this one I quite like. So I'm going to select this one here. Now, you'll see that it's got a kind of default quote in there, but I'm doing something on Shakespeare. So I want to take my quote from The Tempest, hence the storm. Take my nice quote from William Shakespeare's The Tempest. And I'm going to just paste it in here. I might make that a bit bigger. Select all the text and paste that in there. And there's my quote from Shakespeare. Feel free to try this yourself. So I'd really love to see some of the things that you guys can come up with. So if any of you are currently in Express and you're logged in, why not try this out? Go to the social media, choose a template, and put your own favorite quote in there. Feel free to share that in the chat, and I'd love to see what you come up with. Now I've got my quote here, and I could add in some extra text as well, just to identify who the author was. Add in my text in here, and just good. Select it there. Tempest. There we go. Shakespeare. And I'd want to just resize that there. And move that down here. Get my text. I want to change the color. And I'll want to change the font as well. I could add some of these different effects on it too. Let's just take the same font as the above one. So that is my little quote post that I've made for Instagram. And then when I've got that ready, I can just click on share. And again, I've got the same options that you've seen before. So I could, if I'm not finished editing it and I want someone to work on it with me, I could actually give someone else access to it so that they can work on it. I could publish it straight to the web, and then share that link with people so they can just see my link. Or I could post it to social media. I could schedule a post, or I could just download this. If I just want to have the image, I could just download it and then, use it later on, use it for my own, however I want to use it. So super easy to add in your quotes, to get these templates, and this could be anything. There's a huge amount of templates. If I come over here to click on templates, huge number of different templates, whatever you want to search for, and you can just do a search and find loads of things in there. So lots and lots of things in there. Just have a quick look at the chat. Yep, lower the file size without lowering the resolution. Well, that's kind of challenging because the resolution is going to impact on the file size. I mean, one thing I would say is, if you want to look at more kind of compression options, if you do work on a video in Express, now remember, you also have access to the full range of Adobe products, including Adobe Premiere, which is the sort of professional level video editing software too. So you can, of course, bring your project into Premiere, and then you can use some of the more advanced options that you've got in there, and also good if you're doing longer kind of form things, as opposed to just a short 5-minute clip, to do it in there. So yeah, you'll find more options in there too. Okay. Now, come back to my homepage here. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to show you some of the other options of things that you can do. Now, you might want to create a document. So I'm going to click on document here. Again, this is back to these quick actions. So there's a lots of things that until recently you had to do in a desktop application, something like Adobe Acrobat or Photoshop or Illustrator, that you can now very quickly do on the web, using what we call quick actions. So talking about documents and PDFs, you can use a lot of quick actions to create a PDF. So you can convert a document to PDF. You can edit that PDF. You can convert from a PDF. So in other words, output your PDF again back to a Word file or something like that, or to an image file format. You can combine your pages. You can reorder your pages in there as well. So there's lots of things that are just the kind of things that people want to do really quickly for their PDFs. It means that you don't necessarily have to go the full route of using Acrobat or another tool like that, but you can do this in Express and get a really good high quality output as well. So I'll just demo that for you. I'm just going to choose a file to upload. And this is a file. I'm back to my rules again that I created in Word. So this is a Word document. I'm just going to click on open. It's going to start to create that for me as a PDF. So again, it's a really quick option, rather than you don't even need to open Word to make your PDF. So there we go, and that's made my PDF there, and I could simply download my PDF if I don't want to do anything else to it, and that's downloaded that, and I now have a PDF version as well. So if I want to make other changes to it, I can do that. So I can add comments, I can add markup to it, I can highlight sections. So there's a lot of other things I can do. I can do editing on that PDF as well. So documents, again, a really cool option there. Now, one of the really useful things you can do is presentations with Adobe Express. If I click on this plus button over here, and I'm going to choose, rather than have a flyer or a poster or something like that, I want to do like a web page. So I can actually type in web page in here, and I can make a presentation, just a kind of short web page, directly in Express. So I could give this a title. So I'm going to say domestication of the dog. Get my name in there. I'm going to choose a photo. And again, I can use the free stock imagery that we've got in Adobe Express. So I'm just going to do a search there. See what it comes up with. It's going to come up with something. Could upload an image from a device as well. So let me see, I'm going to just, let me narrow this down a little bit. It doesn't seem to want to let me do that, so I'll just stop that. Come back out. Different elements you can use here as well. So, you can change what the cover looks like. You can add split layouts. You can add in photos. So let me see if I say split layout there. See if it's going to let me do it this time. Doesn't seem to want to play with me there. So let me just come down. Just choose a different one. And there's a nice dog. So there we go. Domestication of the dog. And there I've got my little dog over there. And I could keep adding elements in here. So as I scroll down here, I could come in here. I could add in some of my text. So I'll just go back to my text here about the dogs. Just copy that over. I can just start to paste my text in there as well. I could preview this just to see what it looks like. There we go. I can just scroll down there. And obviously I'd want to do a bit of work to make this look a little bit nicer. I could click in here. I could, add in other images. I could change colors and, make different changes like that. So this is quite a nice alternative. If you need to do, say, a presentation, if you, want to just capture some information that you want to quickly share with people, and that includes a little bit more detail than you might get on a social media post. It could be for a class presentation. It could be for a sports club or something like that. So you can see that you can add in other people to work with that. Again, you can invite collaborators, or you can just directly publish that out to the web as your presentation. So that's an example of how you can quickly use your templates too, quickly use your web pages and build up a web page for a presentation. Great. Now, one of the things I did mention to you was some of the options around scheduling posts and different ways that you can use this in marketing or in just you're presenting your material. So in here we have our schedule. So I could say that I want to schedule a particular post for a particular day on different platforms. So I could come in here. So let's see, I'll choose this day. I could decide which channel, so I could connect up my different social media accounts. So I'll just put this one in here. Add in my image, so if I've worked on something previously, I could simply quickly drop it in there or browse to it. And browse to it. So there, for example, is my quote from Shakespeare. It's just going to load that up for me. There we go. So I can just click upload on there. And I could just add my caption in there if I want. That's it there. Preview what that's going to look like. And that's what that's going to look like when I send that to Twitter. And down here, I can choose the date and time that I want to schedule that post to go out. So, if it's more, if you want to get more eyes on it by publishing at a certain time, but you know that you're not going to be able to be around to do that at the time, then you can just schedule that in there. If you want things to go out to multiple social media channels all at the same time, then it's very easy. Just add in all your accounts in there and schedule those and then push them out, and you can really plan your campaign there. Now, I'm not going to actually send that out, so I'm just going to close that there. So that's a kind of indication of how you can also schedule your different elements as well to be sent out. Now, one of the things that I do want to kind of go through with you is, what the elements that are available to you with Express. So, first of all, is I have mentioned a few times about the free stock elements that are available to you and the different assets and resources. So that can include images, it can include video, it can include audio as well. And there's thousands of different free elements in there. And the good thing about those are that they're copyright free as well. So click on explore here, and I can search for different elements in here. We've got our templates, for example, but up here we've got our photos. And these are our free stock images. They're split down into categories here. Or I could search for a particular image that I wanted. I've got videos, and there's audios as well. There's also design assets. So this is things like brushes, textures, just little design elements that you might want to drop into your presentation, different illustrations that you've got in there as well. You've got backgrounds, so nice little backgrounds that you can have on a video or a social media post. And obviously text as well that you can add in, and we've got sort of pre-made text there too. So, the good thing about this is that it really gets around those issues of copyright problems. So, I mean, it can be a problem, particularly in universities where maybe somebody's got to do a presentation or they're making a web page, something like that, and they just do a search on Google or they do a search on the web, and they find an image they like, they copy that image and they put it in their presentation, only to find out down a few weeks down the line that that's a copyright image and the copyright holder is looking for some money from them or is take them to court. And that is something that does happen from time to time. So if you use any of the images or those other assets that are within Express, then you know that those are copyright free and you don't have to worry about that at all. Now, other things we've got in here are the templates. So again, I did talk about the templates that you've got for different social media posts. So for example, for your Instagram, for your Twitter and so on. But there's a lot of other things in there as well in terms of templates. As you can see, you can filter that down. So I'm going to say all, and you actually have premium access, so you don't need to worry about which ones you go for. What the kind of mood of it's going to be. Is it going to be a video template, an animated template, a multi-page template as well? So you can really kind of filter that down to find the right sort of template that you're looking for. If I click up here to search template, so let me see. If I'm going to try to my library tour. So I want to make a template for maybe some flyers or some other elements to advertise a tour of my library. I'm going to do a search here. And there's a whole lot of different options coming up there. Some of them are really nice. I like this one with books. That's quite nice. And that's it there. I click on Remix Template. And then I can just click in there and I can start to change the different elements that are in there. And it's kind of grouped some of these elements together, so I need to ungroup them first, but that's fine. I can move them around. I could change, the text that we've got in there. So I could say Goldsmiths Library. Then I could just kind of change the size of it, delete some of these other elements. like that. It's a little bit small there, so let me just zoom in. So as you can see, you can take these templates and you can remix them, for your own sort of projects and for the different things that you might want to do with them. Click on home here, just come back. Now let me pop over to the chat here and just see if there's any questions that I can help with. Yeah, you can change the colors of the backgrounds as well. So I think one of the things I showed you was there is a kind of color option. If you remove if you've got say a post and you've removed the background, you can easily change the background, or you can select elements and then you can add a tint to the background as well. Is there a way to create a template for a consistent set of styles? Right, yeah, no, that's a really good question. It can be applied to content. Yeah, to get a consistent aesthetic between different media. So let's have a look at some of the options that we've got around your assets, because this is where this comes in. So if I come over to your stuff here, you'll see that you've got options for brands and libraries. So if you want to, for example, use the same fonts, use the same color palettes, or use the same images or logos, but you want to use those across a lot of different types of presentation. So it's, for example, you're putting out social media posts, you always want to have your logo on there. And what you can do is you can go into your brands and you can add in these elements into your brand. And then you can apply those elements on there. And it's just giving me a little advert to say some of my new features in there. So for example, I can come in here, create a new brand. You see, I'll just call this Gold Space 1. And I will create that there. So I can upload a logo. I could add in fonts. I could add in graphics, which could be again, could be logo or specific graphics that I want to use. I could have a template. So if I built a template and I want to, just change the text on it, but I want to put out the same basic look and feel for every time I advertise a meeting for my society, for example, or a meeting, a department meeting within the university, then I can create a template and just reuse that there. And I can have colors, so I can add in my own swatches in here. You can, if you've got swatches that you've already saved within Creative Cloud, you could reuse those swatches. It can take swatches from your existing presentations that you've already used and things like that as well. So to get that kind of consistency across your different presentations, then this is the way to do it, is to use the brand. So I'm glad you asked me that. Now libraries is another interesting feature. Libraries is again, this is a way of kind of sharing assets, but you could share it with a whole team of people. So for example, if you were in a department and you wanted to make sure that each member of your department who was or each student who was producing a presentation always used, the department's logo, and they had the right font for the logo, or there was an image that you wanted to always make sure that was used, or maybe it's just being used repeatedly within different people's presentations. There can be a problem sometimes where there's different versions of logos. People just, they try to recreate the color themselves and things like that, and things don't look quite right. So if you have a library, you can actually share that so it's amongst everybody in your team, and they can all access the libraries directly in Express or from the other Creative Cloud applications as well, including from the Creative Cloud desktop app, so that they can always reuse those elements. It's giving you that consistency right across all of the presentations and the different elements that you're using. So I'll just come back to the chat. It's great, couple of questions there, just about the recordings, that's fine. Okay. So listen, that's really kind of wraps up what I want to show you for Express, but I'm very happy to answer any more questions that you all have. Feel free, you should be able to unmute yourself. Let me know if you can't. So so if you want to ask a question out loud, you can. If you'd rather just type that into the chat, then I'm happy to answer that in the chat as well. Well, whilst people are thinking about that, I'm just going to share some resources that should be quite useful for you. So let me just grab these here, come over to our chat here, and I'll just pop those in there. So we have, so what I've shared there is, first of all, is an Express page that we've put together for goldsmiths, just with some resources that you can use. So for example, videos, posts that are giving you some training and advice on how to use Adobe Express and the other Creative Cloud products as well. And the second thing there is our online courses. So there are online courses from Adobe with badges on completion. So these are a series of short lessons that you can go through on things like, for example, generative AI. And on completion, then you will actually be certified, and you will be giving a badge, a digital badge that you can add to your CV, that you can add to social media, just to prove that you've gone through those courses and that you have those skills as well. So I've added the link in there, and that is something that actually is exclusive to our creative campuses currently in the UK. So goldsmiths do have a bit of exclusive access to that badging as it stands at the moment. Okay. Oops. So, yep, feel free to ask any other questions that you have. If you don't have any more questions, then that is also fine. I hope that today you found this session useful. We are going to be running, as you'll have seen on your training booking page, we're running a whole lot of sessions every couple of weeks, really, going through different elements, maybe focusing a little bit more on some of the things that you can do in Express, for example, things like, techniques you can use for storytelling, how you can build great documents. We're going to be having sessions for researchers, for example, looking at some of the tools that you can use just to make sure that when you've done that research work, that you're actually able to communicate it and communicate what you've done out and get the work known. We're going to be, and the next session that's coming up is looking at accessibility. So we're going to be looking at how to make sure you're building accessible PDFs using Adobe Acrobat. So I'm looking forward to that session as well.